Good morning, Dawn.
Hi, Serby. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
So, just wanted to congratulate LifeOmic for receiving this prestigious Frost and Sullivan Best Practices Recognition Award in the Precision Health Informatics space. And it's a pleasure to discuss with you more about LifeOmic's unique offering, as well as the Precision Health Informatics space, and taking this discussion forward.
Well, thank you. We're honored and delighted to receive the award and happy to have this discussion today. So I guess maybe I should ask you, what are a couple of reasons that LifeOmic was chosen for this award?
Sure. So definitely LifeOmic is a trailblazer in the precision medicine informatics space for sure, with this machine learning enabled precision health cloud platform, which LifeOmic has, and it's like a novel tailored solution, I would say, which has an intelligent clinical decision supporting tools, and wherein you can support across the care continuum, I would say, from disease to prevention to management. So definitely that is what makes LifeOmic unique. And also the seamless data interoperability and the connectivity which is offered by the platform is also helping the information flow which happens in the entire healthcare ecosystem, and thus unlocking the patient data, facilitating the precision health and wellness throughout the patient journey. So I would say these services, as well as to add on the LifeOmic software as a service model, which is secure, flexible, agile, configurable, and also it delivers the necessary tools and technology infrastructure for all the healthcare stakeholders. So, I mean, it is needless to say that LifeOmic is really pushing the envelope of precision health and makes a correct choice for this award.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and yeah, the amount of data that we can put together these days to get a picture of somebody's health is just incredible. You know, now we can start with the genome sequence that people got from mom and dad, and kind of go all the way on up the stack, the proteins that are currently being made in the body, and all the physiological measurements that we can do. And then you combine that with machine learning, and it's incredible the sorts of insights you could get. Well, I know that you're experienced in precision health and precision health informatics. So when you kind of look at the scope of what's out there, what made LifeOmic stand out?
So I would definitely say that as I have mentioned, like it's majorly its open application programming interface is what makes makes LifeOmic stand out, I would say. Unlike most competitors which have like vertical point solution, LifeOmic has a broad approach to the market. It uniquely integrates the data from disparate IT and clinical systems, right from laboratories to a different type of patient data coming out of wearables or mHealth, or even coming out from these from the R&D done by the pharmaceutical industry, and engaging this with the tool and providing this advanced personalized medicine is what makes really LifeOmic stand out. And also, when I talk about LifeOmic's commitment and urge to remain ahead in adapting new technologies, that is also very evident. And the recent example is the acquisition of this conversational AI startup, Bevard, through which now LifeOmic's customers are now able to access AI-enabled customer support via chatbot on their website and also on the Life mobile application. And this is really leading to personalized interaction, because now the chatbot can learn when they want to escalate this interaction to a human agent. So there is like a human touch added to the AI platform, I would say. So these things really make a difference when we talk about that, how this whole entire precision medicine landscape is transforming and helping the patients to the next level. So this really makes LifeOmics stand out. And as we know that primarily LifeOmic is targeting this fast-growing US HCP market. However, there are various ongoing projects and initiatives which we have talked about, which are across the specialties and industry. And clearly, LifeOmic is very well placed in this path of transformation. Definitely.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the Bavard acquisition was an important one for us, because we started off, as you've said, really concentrating on the data side of things, on the cloud side. So building integrations to electronic medical record systems like Cerner and Epic, and then just being able to ingest everything and create this massive data lake. And now with Bavard, we can open that up in a very conversational, intelligent way. And that's been a big challenge. Obviously, I think it's true around the world, but certainly in the US, we have a shortage of healthcare professionals. And so to be able to at least answer common questions with AI, and as AI gets better, we can do more and more. And it just really means that a small number of healthcare professionals can manage a large number of patient interactions because of this use of conversational AI technology.
True. Dawn, just wanted to understand your perspective that with the ever-changing landscape of precision health, how do you see LifeOmic meeting the needs of modern technology infrastructure going forward?
Well, one thing that's emerged for us that was a little bit of a surprise. We started off working with my alma mater, the Indiana University School of Medicine, and created this cloud platform that could aggregate data for their cancer patients. Now, they really wanted to assemble very, very large data sets so they could understand, say, in breast cancer, why one woman will come in and go through the diagnostic process, go through treatment, respond pretty well, go off and live a long and normal life. And sadly, another woman, ostensibly very similar, will have a much worse outcome. And so trying to understand, sift through those large data sets and understand why that is, has been key. And so we've had, it's been really gratifying working with the School of Medicine to accomplish that. But an interesting thing that has arisen for us is we've now got a lot of health tech startups coming to us and saying, just like you guys built your platform on top of AWS, we want to build our business on top of you. And thereby take advantage of the security certifications like HIPAA and HITRUST, SOC 2, and most recently FedRAMP that takes us into the US federal government. And so now we've got health tech startups of all different sorts using our platform, starting at an API level and even using our mobile apps in building their businesses. One great example is a company called iCheck. They've built an optical kiosk that they'll be installing in a bunch of retail stores. And just like today, you can go in and put your arm into something and get your blood pressure measured in a store. Soon, you'll be able to just put your eyes on this device, and it will spit out an optical prescription for you that you can take to the optical counter. But it also does a fundoscopic exam. So it takes a picture of the retina and analyzes for signs of diabetic retinopathy or atherosclerosis. I mean, the retina is kind of an extension of the brain, so it's a great place to really spot early disease. So these guys they're eye doctors and they're hardware guys. And so we were able to shave probably 2 years off their development time frame by providing a ready-made, very mature software platform that they can connect all these devices to and do all the data analytics and everything. And then we've got a program so that as part of our relationship, we'll do prioritized development for them and accelerate features they need for their business. So that's something that has really become a surprisingly large part of our business. And now we're working with all sorts of health tech startups, which is a lot of fun.
Right. No, I do understand that all these digital biomarkers will play a critical role, and how like precision health informatics and these digital biomarkers player will collaborate will be a game changing for this entire precision medicine landscape for sure. So yes, it is an interesting space and a lot of opportunity exists for sure in this space.
Yeah, I think we're living in a golden age of healthcare in general, and hopefully transitioning from being less of an art to more of a science. As we're able to collect data, I'm sitting here wearing a biometric ring, that recorded the data from how I slept last night, which I'll look at in a few minutes and see how tired should I feel this morning based upon what the ring is telling me. But it's just that sort of data now that we're able to generate in real time and stream.
Right.
And so it means we can, start, hopefully soon, we'll be able to do that with things like blood pressure. These devices are measuring temperature, oxygen saturation. So once, obviously heart rate and heart rate variability. Now if you can add things like blood pressure and at some point, hopefully even glucose levels from these devices, now this device is going to be, the device and then the AI in the sky can be monitoring you all the time and saying, hey, I see signs that you're headed toward a heart attack. So rather than waiting and treating once a problem has occurred, hopefully in medicine, we're going to be in a position to prevent a lot more disease.
Right. That preventative approach, which we talk about, is the main thing which the precision medicine informatics can definitely change, wherein it is not just the symptoms which are monitored, but much before we get those parameters for a patient. And definitely when this all data feeds into our R&D ecosystem and the way we design medicine, we do the discovery of the new molecules, new therapies. This will really help in designing, I would say, right from designing the clinical trial to selecting the patients. This all can really help in that entire, I would say, the journey of drug discovery and development.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And, I'm sure you're familiar with the trend toward really starting to target subgroups of people, in some cases based on their genetics. It wasn't too long ago where, say, if a cancer drug only benefited, say, 5% of people, they would just shelf the drug and say, okay, that was a failure. But now we've started to ask, why is it helping that 5%? And is there something about that 5% that we can identify? And with things like HER2 receptors and others, we have been able to do that. And so yeah, maybe, 1 in 20 benefit doesn't seem like much unless you're one of those, that one in that 20. Then it may be that we've got a drug that is 100% or close to it effective for you. And so that's,
Right.
I think, an exciting trend, to start to be able to subgroup people based upon genetics or other
Right.
factors and tailor therapies to those groups.
Right. Right.
So Serbi, obviously you're very well versed in this space. What do you predict to come in the next year in terms of technology or science discoveries? What do you think is going to happen?
Sure. So as we see that technology is becoming like increasingly pervasive in our daily lives, we see how the adoption of digital health tools have expedited, and specifically in this COVID situation, we have seen that how the focus of the population has shifted towards this preventive care, and how the people are now aware about their daily well-being. How this health, wearables, cloud, AI, all this have like grown exponentially in the past year, and we see that this adoption will increase more and more moving forward. Having said that, we are seeing an exponential increase in healthcare data size, and I assume that from exabyte it is soon getting into zettabyte and yottabyte, and the major emphasis now is on how to use this data, because as we all say now, data is the new currency. So for healthcare, we in healthcare space, what we want is actually we'll see these more of these integrated platforms which will come up, which would be designed in terms of like a preventative care platform, I would say, wherein they can help in the entire care continuum, not just when the patient has already got the disease, but rather than, I would say, pre-care, at care, post care, in the entire care continuum. And this would be definitely beneficial also, and also it will help the patients also to access these services, and also the precision health informatics companies also to support them throughout their lifetime, rather than just a temporary association. It would become a reoccurring or a permanent association which you develop with the population, is what will make a change in this entire space. Also, the implementation of cloud will be imperative, and when we have this humongous data, it becomes imperative that we have a place wherein we can store this data, where where it can be easily accessible. It should be secure, interoperable. So all these factors will play a critical role, and we see that the these disruptive technologies will continue to evolve. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, of course, blockchain. These things, these areas will continue to evolve, and more application areas will be there, and more opportunities will arise for the precision health informatics players in the future, because it's now everything is data. Everywhere it's data, everyone is talking about data, but now the prime question is how we utilize data and how we use that data for the benefit of the patients or the larger population, I would say.
No, I think you're exactly right. And, given this focus on data, I think it's surprising to me sometimes in working with healthcare systems, how they don't see that the first step is just getting a data platform, a data policy in place. You've got to start to aggregate this data consistently and longitudinally for patients. Right. In order to be able to take advantage of it. And so I think more and more people are waking up to that, to realizing we need a consistent long-term data storage plan
Right.
is then we can take advantage of all these miraculous things, the discoveries. We've got software that goes out every night to a number of public data sources and pulls down new gene associations. So I think at this point, I forget the number, but it's 100 million or hundreds of millions of genetic variants that we compile from these sources that are pouring in every day. So, for example, we know that out in the population, there are 3 common versions of a gene called ApoE, right? And those flavors are, for whatever reason, they're called E2, E3, and E4. And E4 is the bad one. It's on an evolutionary level, it's the oldest one, but it's less good at dealing with kind of lipids, fats in our brains. And so people who get 1 copy of E4 from mom or dad have 2 to 4 times the risk of Alzheimer's. People who get 2 copies have something like a 90% lifetime chance of developing Alzheimer's. So now we know that. And so we can go to somebody. I think even the more exciting thing, you talk about prevention. Now we can go to somebody and say, look, you got dealt a bad hand. Sorry, that sucks, but that's life. You got an E4 from mom, an E4 from dad. So your buddies may be able to go and eat at McDonald's every day, smoke on the weekend, carry a few extra pounds, sit around, and watching TV. But if you want to be among that 10% who don't develop Alzheimer's, you got to be on your game. You've got to stay lean. You've got to exercise. You've got to have a plant-heavy diet. For God's sake, you can't smoke. You need to be downing olive oil, things that have been shown. So now we know that there are things we can do. There are behaviors we can adopt that reduce our risk of all these nasty diseases. We don't just have to sit and wait until we develop, dementia or cancer or diabetes. We can prevent those things. So for me, that's what's really exciting to think about. What we can do with this data. Once we get it in a kind of a cohesive format like FIRE, which I think has been a wonderful thing, this FIRE representational format, so that we've got a consistent way of loading this often messy data from electronic medical records and getting it into a form that we can really use and reason with.
Right. Completely agree. So, Dawn, maybe we can conclude with understanding that now that you have been recognized with this award, now what is next for LifeOmic? How do you see the future?
There's so much going on, as you know. It's such a fun time. On the data level, we continue to collect data from different sources, different types of data. We recently have added vaccination data to our platform. We also have added support for a new breed of data generating devices called continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs. That's becoming very popular even among non-diabetics. It's basically kind of, if you think of it like a Band-Aid that you put on, it's got teeny tiny little needles, so it can take some continuous blood samples and then talk to a mobile app and tell you how your body is responding on a blood sugar level to different types of foods. So, the conventional wisdom is that white rice will cause your blood sugar to spike. Well, that's not true for some people. For some people, oatmeal drives their blood sugar crazy. And so now, with these sorts of technologies, we've got insight. We can look at the individual and say, Don responds this way, but Serbi responds another way. And food that will kill Don, Serbi just laughs at. So I think that's a really exciting thing. And then we have combined with mobile, we built a little mobile wellness app that we thought, maybe would have a couple thousand people who would download it and find it useful. We're now over 4 million people who have downloaded that app. And so now we've got the cloud side of data connection, but we have a direct interface to the patient. And so that opens up all sorts of new possibilities to be able to push daily instructions down to the patient as they recover from an injury or an operation, or even to get ready to say chemotherapy, that, here's a plan. Here's about 10 days before chemo, we want you to start doing these things day by day. And it's not a bunch of paper or instructions that patients can't make heads or tail of. It's just a daily to-do list on their phone. There can be some like nice little instructional videos or even kind of comic book style courses that really make it easy and digestible for patients. So we're just tremendously excited about the things that lie ahead, and especially as we continue to work with cancer researchers and clinicians. But more and more of what we're doing is focused on prevention and wellness. So we've combined kind of our cloud and mobile assets into a next generation corporate wellness offering that we're now installing in hundreds and hundreds of companies. So yeah, I just think we live in a golden age of precision health and precision medicine, and so I'm just thrilled to be part of it.
True, very true, and definitely LifeOmic is on a clear growth path, and a good transformation lies ahead in the precision health space, we see. Thanks for your time, Dawn, and it was an interesting discussion, and looking forward for more such interactions with you.
Well, I appreciate it, Surya. I enjoyed it too, and it's going to be exciting to see what our field can produce in the years ahead.
All the best.
To you.